I'm just going to do a quick vlog in here. The forest is our home. This is where we came from originally. And originally, the whole of the UK and the British Isles were covered in trees and mass forests. And at one point, the Pennine Moors were all forest as well. They've all been, a lot of it's been deforested, and people have been moved out of the forests and into cities and towns, which I think causes spiritual sickness, to be fair. I think we belong here in the forest because we are one with nature, and it's one of the reasons why we thrive when we come here. Well, I've been coming here at night for the last week on my own with the doggies, and it's something that used to terrify me, but now I love it because there's so many signs in the forest and so many spirits, and you connect with them when you're here alone in the quiet. And you do see stuff, and I've got some fantastic pictures of things that I've seen. And every now and again, if you go off the beaten track, you will come across things like old walls that just lead to seemingly nowhere. And you know that at one point, people would have been up and down here constantly all the time because they lived here. And these were the walkways, and their homes would have been splattered all in the forest. And they would have lived in small communities together. And this way, babies. And people were more connected to the earth. And I think there was less misery back then, to be fair. And I think what's made mankind miserable is the removal of the forests, the removal of nature from us, and putting us in this AI environment, which is all computerised, which goes against our spirits, and it turns us into humanoids. And I don't think that we're connected to the real roots of who we are. And I think this is one of the reasons why people like me, and there are people like me who feel more at home in a forest, and I think it's one of the main reasons why they removed the right to live in them. You can't, even if you buy a forest in Scotland, you're very unlikely to be given the go-ahead to build a house in it of any structure, because they'll say you're not allowed to live in it. You can own it, but you can't live in it. And I think that's why. I think they don't like people being connected to their true selves, because when we get connected to who we really are, we become powerful, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And it's one of the reasons I think I have mental health problems, is because I can't cope outside of my home environment, which is this sort of place. The mountains, the sea, the forest, and I think it's one of the reasons I am so attracted to Scotland, because it's got all of them, and it's where we belong. This is how we should be living, and we've got no right to take it from each other, and we have done. People have taken things away from other people out of greed and egotism and the need to own people and control them. And the problem is, there's people like us who can't be controlled, or not easily. And if you try and control us, we malfunction because we can't cope with it. Come and get in, babies. Booba. Inside, good girl. So we... She's killing. Yeah, we can't cope with being told what to do, because we know it's going against ourselves to be controlled by another human being, because we're all equal. We're supposed to be, but we're not. I'm at the mercy, yet again, of employers and people who are going to decide my fate. They're going to decide now, and I'll find out soon, within the next week. I will find out if I have a job, and I will find out if I can stay in my home, and I will find out if I can keep my home. And this is all by somebody else's doing, not by my own. So I wish there was a situation could come along where I could be given back my home, and all we all need is a small piece of land to grow our own food and build our own housing and just be left alone. But it's not going to happen because we're not free. Anyway, I'm going to go. But this, I have got so many walks now, so many, and honest to God, the places that I go to are just absolutely amazing, and I am so lucky because I have got something I never had down in England, which was all this greenery and these beautiful forests and woods full of spirits, and it's just, you can feel it coming alive at night. As I'm leaving now, I can almost feel it's like it's waking up, and at night everything comes alive and there's nobody about. I can see trees in the face, I can see faces in the trees and everything, and I find it so magical, and it makes life worth living for me to have magic, because I can't cope with mainstream living. I can't take it. I couldn't sit and do a 9 to 5 boring job all year round with a partner that only touched me once a year, and a shopping spree once a week, and a TV every night. I'd rather die than that crap. But if you say to me, you can go and live in a log cabin in a forest and play with fairies every night and have wonderful spiritual adventures, that is just what I want. I think when I'm older I'll have dementia, and I think when I've got dementia I'll be even more eccentric, and I think that I will have a fantastic time in the forest. So if I make it to old age and I go missing, look in a forest, because you'll probably find me dancing around a fairy circle. Anyway, I'm going to go because it's, what time? It is 9:45. Wow! I don't know what time we came out, but I talk a lot. But I've done loads of vlogs I can't put on yet. I'll put them on if and when I find out what's happening. But I'll put this on now because it's nice. But anyway, bye-bye.